Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
So the Obama administration wants to change how military veterans file for disability, but veterans groups are outraged, calling it a seismic change that will only hurt America's heroes. Pete Hegseth, the CEO of Concerned Veterans for America. And Pete, good day to you.
Thanks for having me.
What's the rub?
Well, the rub is you've always been able, as a veteran, to file a claim in any manner. It could be a written letter to the Department of Veterans Affairs, and at that moment, your claim starts, and benefits can be retroactive to that moment. Now, the VA has just announced that it's going to create a standardized form, a more complex form that must be filled out and filled out correctly when submitted in order for that process to start. So it's an additional layer put on the backs of veterans. And I'll tell you, General Omar Bradley of World War II fame, he ran the Veterans Administration after World War II. He had a test that said, that he would give to his employees. He said, we're dealing with veterans, not procedures. We're dealing with their problems, not ours. And this new change absolutely violates that. This is an additional procedure that breaks down any customer service, which already doesn't exist at VA, and they're trying to solve the problems of the Department of Veterans Affairs on the backs of veterans, hoisting responsibility on them.
But Pete, do you think this administration wants to hurt veterans?
No, I don't. I think this is typical top-down bureaucratic solutions to a department that is mired in bureaucratic. It's been stuck in its own bureaucratic muck for a long time.
That could be true. Then we need reform then on that, right?
Precisely,
to be effective.
Which is why our organization is working with members on the Hill to advance legislation that would bring long overdue accountability to this department. It's nearly impossible to fire a bad employee at the Department of Veterans Affairs. Bonuses are given out at hospitals where veterans are dying. So if you have a culture without accountability, how can you change it? And instead, we just pump more and more money, add more and more procedures on top. And who pays for it? The veteran who waits longer and gets poorer care. And this is another example of that.
You make a great point. One more point on this, too. You have the most advanced fighting force in the world.
We do.
When you're in battle, but when you come home, what are you left with?
And then we hand you basically an agency that's stuck in the World War II paper and pencil age, and you're left waiting in line just for an answer through a totally opaque bureaucracy. VA is so far behind the curve, it's embarrassing. And that's why just throwing more, our organization has stood steadfastly behind. It's not about more money, it's about accountability and efficiency, which is what this organization has never done in other places.
Can you change this, Pete?
Well, it's government, top-down. Government is never going to be as efficient as the private sector in delivering a lot of these things. But can you change cultures? Absolutely. It takes leadership at the top. General Shinseki has not shown that. But at the same time, it takes the ability to, as a manager, manage your people and create incentives that bring about efficiency. That doesn't exist, and I think Washington and Congress need to wake up. If they really want to serve vets, there's accountability they can bring. There's bills they can pass to break down the barriers to the dead wood that it's at VA that isn't helping veterans, that's creating more delays and backlogs. So there's ways to get at this, and Concerned Vets for America is going to be at the forefront with other groups of trying to advance that.
They're lucky to have you, Pete. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks.
Pete Hegseth here in New York. Thank you.